So there are lots of points to expand. Raymond Aqua and Winston Amwa are here to help with the analysis, how far we have come with these two testimonies today. Good morning, guys. Let's hit the ground running. Let's start off with General Officer Commanding Brigadier General Joseph Aduku Apo, who says that events, what happened in Nigeria, and this is exactly what his choice of word was, bad. Describing events of 29th of June, he said civilians had massed up and were charging onto the military. They gave verbal warning, fired warning shots, but the people were firing within the crowd, and he insists they use minimum force. What they did was fire to maim.
Okay, so let's get this clear. I heard him. I heard the battalion officer too. The closing remarks of the battalion officer, before the closing remarks and getting to the end of it, in the third of that statement, he made some very profound one. He says the people who were hurt and died, he's convinced that one of them might have even been shot by the people from the crowd. He didn't tell us that these military men, out of the 10, 2 shot directly at them, and 1 actually ended up killing one of these gentlemen. All this while, we've been operating under the impression, or we've been presuming, that military men and their action ended up that way. The commanding officer, the general commanding officer, clearly stipulated that our men might have actually shot at them and ended up killing the people involved, and the numbers could have gone higher if we didn't restrain ourselves or do the right thing on the ground. He also assumed, or from this point, maybe assumed, that the conduct of the military men were appropriate under the circumstances to make sure that they deal with the situation on hand. It is contradictory to suggest on one hand that, oh, well, we killed them. We killed them not necessarily because we wanted to kill them, because we were containing crowd. We aimed to maim, and we ended up causing the harm. On the other side, the suggestion also is that, no. It's possible we didn't kill all of them. It's possible we might have killed one, but the other person could have been shot by the people and the protesters within the crowd itself. That is the kind of signal I'm getting. And let's roll back to yesterday. Today, the only tape that the military has spoken to is the tape that the regional minister sought to put in, which he couldn't tell us the source of it, which he said was going to compromise the security of the people. It is the only tape that both the military's general officer commander and the battalion commander have made reference to.
Because he said so far that's the only video that he has seen.
I mean, I'm not saying it's ridiculous, but I'm saying that it is close to impossible for you to have watched what has happened on that day and come to the conclusion that's the only video you've seen. Because it is not possible. You are preparing to come here. Ideally, see. So which video did he see to come to the media's conclusion that he made? That the advice that the media should be given. Which video did he see? And which commentary did he talk about? Before he was convinced that the media has been saying things and showing things which is contrary to what the series of events they have on the ground. And lastly, I was expecting him to give us some detail on the series of events they had on the ground. And I know that I'm going up and down. My main point with respect is it was as if this was an opportunity to slide in the media and say, no. The media created the impression that we shot and killed 2. 1, without that, but that's not what even the 2 military men agree on. 2, he also says that the media created the impression that when you take the knee and you aim, your intention is to kill. But that's also not true. It's part of the warning processes we give.
Sometimes it is to scare the people.
Yes, but he didn't say that. In fact, he ended up saying that the gentleman who took the knee did not shoot anybody. He didn't kill anybody. In fact, he said categorically that the gentleman did not shoot or kill anybody. How come we are not being told who shot and killed the rest? And again, I'm repeating this. We seem to know every incident, including what is very detailed about which direction the gunshot could have come from, and which of the gunshots could have come from the public and also from the military man. But what we are not told today is, out of the 10, 2 shot at them. 1 ended up killing this guy. At least we can rule out one person. We can rule out the single individual in the name of the military man who took the knee. We know that he did not shoot and kill anybody. So the 9 that's left, which of them shot and killed the others? That question has not been asked. That question has not been answered. But we are being told that the narrative that the media has put out there, and let's be clear, we saw it live. I didn't need a narrative to be clear about what was happening there. We didn't put a narrative on it. We saw it live. We saw people dead. In fact, we said that shooting led to the death of people. That's not in dispute. And again, it goes back to what the conclusion remarks of the chair and also Dr. Vladimir Chudanso has been. It's as if, on one hand, and the chairman was clear in his mind, that they can criticize the media fairly. They can also make sure they have views of the media. That's not what we are saying. Of course, the media is criticized on a daily basis by everybody, every corner. And mostly they say that it's only the media's work that everybody knows better. In fairness, it is this attempt to position this committee some way, somehow, as a process to either reinvent the procedures and the events that happened the day, or to whitewash it, or to make it look like it is far from what the people saw on the ground. And I'm saying that these things were hinted prior to the formation of this committee, that some of the conduct of the members of the panel and also what has happened suggests that particular approach. I found the address to the media, for example, as unnecessary. Because quite clearly, if that's what you did and it was within your responsibility to do consistently, you don't need to clarify that to me or any other person on the ground there. So, well, I mean, we're still in the first set of the...
And there's one more military officer expected to appear before the committee tomorrow. But Winston, we have a good appreciation of how the military got involved in Nigeria in the first place. We understand now that when there is a joint operation between the military and the police, the military would take the lead, and that's what they did in Nigeria. Talk to me about the points that you've picked. What's, the highlights of what
Well, Mamadi, when it comes to even that one, I still would want to know one thing, because this is the military telling us what transpired. I want to hear from the police. He says he spoke to the Deputy Regional Police Commander, and they say the police would be there today. I'd want to know, because the MCE has indicated that he invited the military. I'd want to know, for instance, when it comes to the Deputy Regional Police Commander, did the District Commander at Ijra tell him that they were being overwhelmed, and so they had to, call the Mampong police to come in there? Well, he says the Deputy Commander tells him they've called for reinforcement. I'd want to know the sort of communication that transpired between the two of them, and would want to hear it firsthand from the Ijra Police Commander and the Ashanti Regional Police. It's very important. But having said that, now, few concerns that I have, and Brigadier General Paul was asked the question, did you go with rubber bullets? He says, that's not how we do it. Lieutenant Colonel Pepra says, when the police says, stop, 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 and you don't stop, we don't use the same approach of the police. We go higher. We use a higher force. Because they've told you, stop, 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 and you've not listened. Is it a case that the military went in with a mindset that we are going to do this to these people? Did they go in with a mindset that these are people who are proving stubborn? Because look, GOC says, I have only seen the video, the short video, less than 1 minute.
What was played?
Which was played yesterday.
In the hall yesterday.
Yes, and that was the Ashanti regional ministers. Now,
and this is a video that has not been confirmed, because we don't know the source of it.
We don't know the source, but it's been on Facebook, so we've all seen it. It's been on social media. We have all seen it. My concern...
And Church has not seen any other video.
Yes, my concern...
Those that were played yesterday, so that means that he only watched the original ministers.
Exactly.
He didn't watch what happened.
He didn't watch the others that happened. Well, granted.
Well, that's fair. That's what you saw.
I want to do that.
My concern, you see, people were firing at us. Who were those firing at us?
No.
When you aimed to maim, did you maim the people who were firing at you? How do you tell us the people you maimed were the people who fired at you when you did not go back to check if they had anything?
Okay, so just stop there, because I think there are two different presentations.
Yeah.
So we had the first officer, Brigadier General Joseph Aduku Apo, saying that they did not go back because there was a specific question
Yes.
as to whether or not they went back to either check the guns or whatever weapons were being used. He said no. But then if you go to Lieutenant Colonel Kwesi Ware-Pepre's submissions, his testimony, he did indicate that the protesters were using pump-action guns and locally manufactured guns.
Yes, but I am asking, those who were shot, those who were maimed, were they the ones firing? That's the question I'm asking. And that's a question that would actually tell you, because you say they were firing, so you aimed at maiming somebody. Now, you're maiming somebody because that person is the person, in my mind, that could harm you. These persons who were maimed, were they the persons who were firing at Operation Calm Life? I haven't heard that. And so there's and let me stop there, because I don't want to go into possibilities as Lieutenant Colonel has done, because one of the points I'm going to raise, I don't want to go, I don't want to speculate. So I'm asking this question, and I know that the
So please don't. I guess there's one more officer. There's one more officer. So far, the two gentlemen we've heard from were not on the ground.
Good. So the question is, and I know the committee will be listening, they'll be watching. They would ask this question on our behalf. So the question is, could it be that innocent people were shot? Is it the case that those who were shot? Because for now we don't know. We're waiting for the.
Well, but what we do know also, and you said you didn't want to speculate, but there was a suggestion that somebody from within the protesters may have even shot.
That's the evidence.
Well, but that was one of the things that was said.
Speculation.
And to be fair, the military, there's no discord in how they do communication, though. So before the junior officer, in this case, not the junior officer, the battalion commander will speak, I'm sure he'd have checked his notes with the commanding officer. For the commanding officer to have come to say that, oh, yes, our action was not really to kill them. We aimed to maim. We might not have gotten the results of what we actually achieved, which is unfortunate. And for one of his officers to now come, and it's obvious that he didn't have that information about who might have been within the crowd, who should to, because we'd have added it to it. For one of his officers kind of said that, no, don't rule out the possibility. So a very wonderful person within the crowd could be responsible for one of the dead people that we have there.
I am going to go for the single most who came and said, this is what, so I'll use his, this thing. I mean, I'll use his narrative and ask my questions, because I know these questions will be asked on our behalf. So I'm asking, those who were shot, did they check to see if they had any weapons on them? The pump-action guns and the locally manufactured guns, were they from these persons?
Where is the evidence to suggest there were any on the ground?
Exactly the point.
The police up to now have not exhibited
Well,
any.
we're still expecting the police to make an appearance before the committee.
The police would come in, yes, and my indication, my checks with the police indicates that they'll be there today. So let me go on to my other concern that I have with all of this. Now, you are going in there to deal with protesters. Now, the chairman of the committee was asking that question. Oh, I mean, he made it like a bit of, a closing remark. But that's an important issue. The military, many people will tell you, most of the time, when they aim, yes, they maim. And maiming sometimes results in permanent injury to you when a military man comes to the field like that. And if you go to their shooting range, a lot of the times they do, a lot of the shootings goes with the upper body. So we saw, based on the narratives, but we'll come there because the police is going to come, and those who are on the ground themselves are going to show up. How do you go into such an operation without rubber bullets? And the commanding officer was bold enough when he said, we don't use tear gas.
Yeah, but just think about it for a second. This is not a service. That's not police service. This is a force.
But hold on.
Sorry.
This is a force.
Calm Life, he said, was also called upon to help in crowd control.
Exactly.
And restoring order.
Yes.
Yeah.
When there is disorder, your most potent force is what you use.
Yeah, but I guess they've also explained clearly that their mode is absolutely different from that of the police.
It means we must begin to take a second look at their own SOP. Because if all you do is to go with live bullets and tell people that, look, And now we don't have evidence that those who were killed are actually the ones who were firing.
Yeah.
So somebody could just be in the crowd, probably, I mean, that's a demonstration going on. He's going somewhere, and he's caught in the crossfire.
There's also another issue, gentlemen.
Like the gentleman who actually was providing some support to Erastus and Co, who was killed.
Exactly.
At least, from what you have been told, he was not armed, he carried no weapons and all of that.
Thank you, Raymond.
It could have been possible that that same gentleman, within a matter of few seconds, went to look for arms and was caught within the fire range and was shooting and got killed, or responded in that particular form.
So you see, more questions. And I am happy that the section commander will be coming in to answer questions. And we need to hear the police also, including the draft police commander. There are more questions.
Absolutely.
There are more questions. You know, I've written too many questions.
So we know that people were injured, 2 people were killed. What we do not know, and maybe you guys may have the information you could share, is what gun killed them, what bullets. Because that will also establish whether or not, because, you know, we heard the Lieutenant Colonel say that they can identify the weapons that they use, so that we can tell if the guns are either from Operation Calm Life or from within the protesters who we now understand were using pump-action guns and locally manufactured guns. That's something that has not been established
That's something
yet.
that should be established by an independent committee. That's something that we cannot leave to the military to establish and say this is what happened. I mean, these persons have already been buried, but it can always be brought back and we'll do the investigations. That's not a problem at all. And that's why I'm raising these questions, because I think that, look...
But what's the standard practice? It would be strange if we didn't check these before we buried them. Exactly.
We would have checked. So, I mean, they're taken to the hospital.
Coroner?
I am convinced that the standard practice is that when somebody is brought in and dies in less than 24 hours, you should be doing that. You know, you should be even having a coroner's report to be, indicating this. But that's not something I can say for now, whether it was done or not. That's the standard practice. We can always talk about good practice. The question is, was it really done on the day? I do not have the information. So I would move on to what I have heard them say. And there's still more questions. I think that the military should also watch the other videos and compare the notes to what they've been told by their officers on the ground. And that probably would help them better appreciate issues on the day. And nobody says the media is above criticism.
Let's address that for a second.
The media is not.
I was wondering, because this was right after the Colonel had issued an advice to the media. But I was wondering where the committee, the comments that they made, it sounded like they were reacting to some sort of backlash from yesterday's sitting.
Forgive me, this advice he gave, what was the point in there? What did the media say that he found not to be true? Because he says the narrative out there is different from what they have. The things he said today, which portions of the narrative that's been put out there by the media, is very different from what he is saying. That would have helped all of us. So specifically, I was expecting him to say that. They say, we shot them. None of my men shot them. They will say, okay, now that's the difference. They say we carried this number of weapons there and we chased the people to go and shoot them. We did not do that. They are also saying that these and other things are the ones we have done, which we completely disagree with it. But all that he left it at is that the narrative they put out there is different from what we have. Exactly what is the point of departure, so that we can interrogate it properly.
Well, here's the issue. He says you did not come to him to get clarification on the matters. And I think that's where there is even a bigger problem. No, because if there is a certain narrative out there that is not true and you're waiting for...
We said we don't attend the press conference. They didn't say that, right? What has happened on the ground today is that you have an opportunity before a committee to state categorically what the people said, which was false. All that you say is that, oh, what they are saying, we have a different version of it. But all that you narrated is also what the media has been saying. In fact, the media has said that there were gunshots. The media has said that 2 people are dead. Is that a dispute?
It is not.
So exactly what has the media said differently? The media insisted that somebody took a knee. He aimed the gun. In fact, I've not heard anybody say that and he shot and killed anybody. I've heard any media report like that. Is that also disputed? So exactly what did the media say that you think is so bad and so untrue that in fact from what you actually have, so that we can compare notes and say that, okay, we may not have this, so you're right, we are wrong, we are absolutely wrong. Exactly what does he seek to clarify, or what he thinks the media requires training, like the members of the commission said? The media requires so much training to be able to report that there's a gunshot. Really?
All right, so where do we go from here? I guess there are more appearances before the committee. We're told right after they return from their break that the Deputy Ashanti Regional Police Commander will be appearing before them to also give his testimony. That will also be crucial because his name was mentioned. Well, as we keep an eye on Ejira and the committee's work, there's also another committee that's been working, this time in Wa. 15 witnesses who are also victims of last week's military attack on civilians have appeared before the committee, which is conducting a public inquiry into the inhumane incident. Hearing started yesterday at the Regional Coordinating Council, and it is expected to continue today. Rafiq Salam is our colleague there. He's been monitoring proceedings and joins us via Zoom. Rafiq, good morning, if you can hear me. Tell us more about the WA public inquiry. Hello, Rafiq? Okay, I'm afraid we do not have Rafiq yet. We will get Rafiq to tell us about what's happening in WA as well. There is another committee, that's carrying out another inquiry in WA. Gentlemen, let's talk about WA for a second. That's quite different from what has happened in Nigeria.
But before you go to WA, I think you're making a point about the comments of the police about the media.
Yeah.
And I rudely and unfairly intervened.
Yes, let me continue. and so let me get that
just to tell those who are watching that the visuals that you see on the screen, what happened and what that was captured on video is what we're playing back to you. Yes, Winston.
You see, the press commentary, we said it, we reported it, and the public saw it. It was very live. And the question you ask yourself is, in all of this reportage, was anything misrepresented? There's been attempts to link issues to fix the country. That's an activity. If somebody says he was part of that activity, fix the country, I do not think that will be a subject of dispute to be talked about so much. But granted, how about a military man who says, it could even be, this is the point to it, he said it could even be that one of those persons was shot by people from the public. Where's his evidence? It could even be that one of them was shot by the public. Look, the committee is expected to find out circumstances leading to the disturbances in Ejira, which resulted in the death of 2 persons and others getting injured. Let us stay on that course.
Perhaps those other issues will help them with their recommendations. Let's go to Rafiq Salam joins us with more. Rafiq, what have we missed?
The committee, the 4-member committee comprising of 2 from the Military High Command and 2 from the National Investigation Bureau started their work yesterday. And so yesterday they were able to interact, speak to about 15 persons who were involved in that brutality by the rampaging soldiers. They were also able to go to the Upper Regional Hospital and then speak with Gafur Mahama, 29-year-old vulcanizer who developed a fracture in the right thigh bone. And so yesterday they had 15. So it was only left with 3 personalities that they were supposed to meet with today. As I talk to you now, the committee members are at the 10 mechanized Agri battalion to speak to the soldiers that they have alleged that they have assaulted them. And so the information that I'm getting from them is that they want to meet with the rampaging soldiers today, and then after that they will come back to the Upper Regional Coordinating Council to meet with 6 other persons and then to conclude their work.
And talk to us about the committee. Who is on it?
The committee is led by one Colonel Ayorogo, BZ Ayorogo. Like I told you, it's a 4-member committee comprising of 2 from the Military High Command, but the man leading the charge is BZ, Lieutenant Colonel BZ Ayorogo.
Okay, all right. So Rafiq, I mean, I was just saying a while ago that the WA incident is very different because we know that the military, before this committee, went to apologize to the chief and people for what has been captured on video by way of the punishment that about 40 or 50 military men decided, to get out there because a phone had been stolen or gone missing. To punish people that they either suspected and those who were filming the process. So what's the atmosphere like?
Mama, is still the talk of town. The people are trying to recover from that shocking incident. And then also the apology that was rendered by the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Thomas Opompepra. They're saying that yes, ask for the apology. They have received it, but it cannot heal their wounds, and they would like proper investigations to be done to unravel whatever that came up, whatever might have informed the decision of the military men to do such a dastardly act, and also for them also to be punished. Remember, this was an incident that occurred last Wednesday, but preceding to that, 3 days before that incident, there was another incident which went unreported about some military men who went to Wichau and then beat a washing bay operator after washing their car. And so it was there that the people thought that because that one was not investigated upon, that was why the soldiers have that effrontery to do such a callous act on the people.
Okay. So what is to come today? I mean, it's just a few minutes to midday.
What we are expecting today is that currently the committee members are at the barracks, the 10 mechanized agri barracks in where the soldiers came from. They are there. They are currently meeting them in one here. After which tomorrow they will come and meet the rest of the other people. The other victims are who they were not able to meet yesterday.
Is this all a public hearing?
It's closed. It's closed. The door is shut on the media. It's not public. They had acquired, there was an office at the Upper Regional Coordinating Council, room number 36, and that's where the people are coming in, and that's where the interrogation is going on.
But we understand also that some media personnel have been called to give their testimony.
Yeah, today they were expected to be, this incident, there's only one video that went viral. And so the guy who shot the video, he's a journalist working with one of the radio stations here. And so the committee were expected to meet him today, but it has been pushed to tomorrow.
All right. Rafiq, thank you very much. Rafiq, bringing us up to speed with that committee doing its work in WA. Anything you guys want to say? This one, there's been general acceptance, so there's no dispute here.
My only difficulty is that why does it require a committee when even the military is convinced that something might have gone wrong with their people? They have told us the kind of people that were involved. We know exactly the 50 or so that went out there to do this. How is this not a clear-cut case of we are dealing with them? We know the procedure to deal with people who do some of these things.
Exactly. And the military talks about unprofessional. This unprofessional.
So if it's unprofessional, it's contrary to the dictates. Why do you need a committee to establish unprofessional conduct, which has been established ahead of time? Or there's a different evidence gathering process which is required here. What is the need for the full fact-finding process here? What is left to be inquired? What is outstanding? Is it not required that a person an individual who is qualified to, even if he's going to prosecute them, do the investigation and proceed with it? It is becoming quite too many, which becomes like, oh, well, let's form a committee. People will stop talking about it and form a committee. And form a committee, whenever we come down with our report, we'll move on with our lives. People want to see that when they are attacked on the streets by military people, you say it's unprofessional, they are prosecuted. And when I attack somebody in this country, they don't form a committee to investigate it. You proceed with the relevant state institutions to prosecute based on the evidence you have. Are you saying that the committee is now going to establish the evidence for what you consider to be purely unprofessional conduct? Well, it's sometimes difficult to put all of this within the proper perspective than to say, no, we are not legitimately interested in just going through the process for the sake of it. Because we've had committees in times past. We've had committees that have made very wonderful recommendations, which have not gone anywhere in this republic. So the mere mention of a committee does not excite people. It is the outcome of the work of the committee that will make it happen. In this case, it is fairly straightforward. At least you suggested that to us, that it is fairly straightforward.
Winston.
Well, I mean, I've said it already. You've told us that their conduct was unprofessional, and you know them. These are newly recruited military personnel who are taken to the Upper West region for duty, and they've engaged in this. You've apologized on their behalf, and you say you're going to conduct investigations. I don't know what kind of, further investigation. I know what kind of committee hearing again. But I think that they should go ahead, do their internal something, and met out the appropriate sanctions.
Some years back, you recall that they said at training, a military man who was actually ended up dying or so, and his colleagues felt the training was too heavy and difficult on them, so they had to rebel or protest. All of them were sacked. They didn't take a committee to determine that. Because they found that their conduct, even as recruits who were going to be military people, were substandard, they were sacked from the military. And there were people were even saying that they should have been meted out with higher punishments. Why does this suggest to people that when it comes to some of these incidents, and you see, for a man who is paid with your tax money to, without provocation, attack you, it's not as if I can go and also ask the police to prosecute the guy. That's not what's happening now. All we have been told is that a team is going to find out whether or not what he did was wrong. And that is what, to me, suggests you are merely going through procedure for procedure's sake because we've seen it happen before. Show us something different. You have done so before, so don't let people lose hope. Or else people will next time meet the military or the police people with a requisite force too. And what will be?
Perhaps we should wait for the committee to finish its work and then we see exactly what they do with it.
Exactly.
And
let's
then,
wait for them.
Yeah, because, granted, perhaps it's procedure, because you can't just begin to either prosecute or, sack someone. You have to go through some form of procedure.
With respect.
To punish, see whether or not somebody is... You're going to say something?
Not long ago, I tracked those who had received compensation from the National Reconciliation Commission's work. So when you say some of this, I'm excited by I have very little hope in the belief that it is the main reason behind this. And with respect, you can still get that compensation process going through without having to do this full-blown committee doing an investigative process. Where are the investigators in the, what they call the police department, who are supposed to be prosecuting people on these matters?
Wow.